It's going to be an outtake for sure.
Yeah, you can't put that on YouTube, man. We're going to get demonetized.
Why? We are not kid friendly, so
we also don't make money. So
yeah, exactly.
We definitely ain't making no money.
Can't demonetize something that ain't monetized.
This is true.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Not So Wide Divide. It's been a while since we've been together, so we're just going to kind of chat up and see where we at, see where everybody's been, and see where this goes. So,
do you want to, before we get started, you want to explain why we're on The View right now?
Not really.
Are you just okay? Well, we're just gonna go with it then.
Yeah. I mean, it's my luck. If this thing gets like a whole bunch of likes, we might stay right here.
Oh,
right.
We can't stay right
we
here,
just
bro.
need one in that corner.
Yeah. We gonna get. Yeah, I mean, we can get some multiple cameras next time, and get it jazzed up, get your close shot up,
That killing me.
Bring makeup man.
And,
in,
yeah. I'm gonna bring a makeup man. Powder.
That ain't part of me. Yeah.
So, where's life been treating you guys the last couple of month and a half since the storm?
Yeah, I guess so, because we do have. It's crazy. I don't know how. Cody and I talked about this a while back, right before the storm, but we do have a handful of fairly consistent followers that don't even live in the United States.
Really?
Yeah. And they comment on all the stuff. So I will, maybe if they want to know, we had Hurricane Ida that passed, and town that we live in was a direct hit. So we went to most areas were 3-4 weeks without power. I'm 54 days now at my house. Still don't have internet or telephones or cable. So these cable guys around this town, they're horrible, man.
They're not horrible. Being that I come from that profession, I'm going to step in and speak for the cable guys in you guys' neighborhood and work in the city. So this storm was something that we never saw before, and it really tore down the whole plant. Anything aerial was tore down. Most companies outside of AT&T had ran fiber, but they ran their fiber on the actual cable pole. 90% of AT&T's goes underground straight to the home, so they were able to come up a little faster. So we have thousands of contractors from all over other states coming in, and they're really just trying to help run the main line along the highways. Well, in retrospect to that, that's all they're doing. They're not really being handled correctly to run the main line and then go down
turn it into the
section.
houses and stuff like that.
So you may have 10 people doing one job in one area and actually causing problems for one another. When the storm first came to, they had to put so many power poles back up that they were just cutting things just to get the power poles up.
So that's what happened at my house.
So
they literally cut that. The pole fell. I have a pole right in my yard.
Right.
The top of the pole fell, hanging in the yard. When the contractor, the electricity folks came to run on, they cut everything, put up a new pole, and left it. Well, as I'm calling my company, my cable company, and they keep telling me, literally for 3 weeks, just unplug your modem. You have service in your area. I said, y'all don't understand. I can see the lines cut. Well, we'll send a technician out. Send a technician out. He says, well, I can't do that. It's not my scope.
It's not his scope.
I'm a home. You have to have service at home. And I said, well, I keep telling them this. And then I've had 3 other appointments, 3 no-shows.
So with that, I mean.
And it's not Tori's company, so I will say that.
Oh, I mean, all companies are having the same issue. Trust me.
And I'm patient. And I get them on the phone. I'm telling my patient.
And you got to be patient.
Until I get a bill.
Hopefully you shouldn't get a bill.
I got a bill.
Hopefully you shouldn't have got a bill.
When I called them and I said, hey, y'all was a no-show two times in a row. On the 3rd day, I get the bill. So I call them. And they're like, oh, well, let's see. I get a text message that says, we've just credited your bill, $10. So I get back on the phone with them like, hey, we're going to have this conversation. And this lady, the last lady, they're all polite. And I get, again, I'm patient. I get the situation. But I think the biggest issue that I see is the phone folks and the field folks are not on the same page.
So depending on where you actually call, because no call centers are actually local. So you may have called somebody who might have been in Colorado, That person comes in maybe Saturday to Thursday, 8 to 5, and they only dealing with a certain amount of calls that come in. They don't really know what's going on in what area to what area. So, yeah, that's a part of the communication drop in most companies. But it ain't no time soon. If I can make you feel a little better, if you with my company. They moving a little faster than normal. We actually had our whole company predicted to be back up middle of December. Now it might be the end of November.
I don't even know if I have internet in my house.
Well, I ain't gonna push the button, but
What do you mean you don't know if you have
I'm not
internet?
in my house.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about what you mean you don't know if you have internet yet.
No idea. I
Yeah.
don't even know if my air conditioner works. They ain't been on since Ida. We had
You
to
check that electricity that electricity bill though?
Oh yeah, but
what it looking like?
Dude, that's everybody that I talk to.
I
So
just-
I know in our area, are you Sleek or are you Energy?
we're City of
City
Homeland,
of
I think.
Homeland.
I think where we're at. I'm not 100% on that.
We're Sleeka. And most people, and Sleeka's fairly cheaper than Energy. I don't know if who do you have?
Sweet.
Sleeka. So we get a bill. It's like a 71-day bill because of the
storm.
Yeah, it was like okay, I get that, but for 3 of those weeks I didn't have power. My bill was like $40 cheaper than it was. No, so you say I only used like $2 a day electricity is what you're telling me because it's minus the 40 and the 15 days and well no sir. I said so how is my bill only $40 cheaper? Whenever we're talking about it,
Right.
well that's how you meter it. And I said, nobody can read this meter. Like, stop, just stop.
Yes.
Like,
nobody.
And they don't know what to say. Like, there's just no word. I
see
do tell you
what
though,
my
like,
meter read, because
Like-
I'm looking at it right now, and you got to be at least close to it. You know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna go 5 times the
Right.
read that it did before they read it. So what did it read? They ain't give it that to you.
oh no, she had no idea. Because I was like, well, can you tell me that? She said, well, it's on your bill. And I said, no, I'm looking at my bill. I just want to make sure that we on the same page. And she was just like, well, we'll send somebody out to reread it. And I said, okay. And we have the digital,
Right.
so it's like,
Yeah,
I get that they don't have to, like the old school, they got to come to your draw. Like, they can pull that just driving on the street.
But if they know
I
internet,
get
how
it.
they gonna?
But, well, that's the thing. Like, I mean, they run cellular service and they, run it, sell modules and stuff like that. But it's still the point of, like, going, everybody's just trying to, I don't want to say make their money back because that's a real
That's what they're
crappy
doing.
way. But it's like, especially these cable companies and energy companies and, because they spending boatloads of money right now. Like we're about to all get these ridiculous hurricane surcharges on every bill, every utility, every service you have is
Oh wow, at that.
is gonna have crazy. Yeah, yeah, worldwide.
Well,
It's nuts though, man.
and it's bad because my mom said the same thing. She was just like, "Hey, my bill is extraordinary." She was like, "I put 200 on it just because I figured I could just have something left over for the next month bill." And she was like, "Nah, it was 190, so she only had $10 left on it." And she was like, "I didn't even think that." And of course, my mom lives in an apartment just her and my dad. So it ain't like it got a million kids running through it. It ain't like lights on 24/7, and it's 190.
It's nuts.
Ain't got no washer dryer hook up in there.
Right.
Ain't run a heater. There's nothing that's been,
Only thing running at my house right now is a fan, just to kind of get some air circulation and a dehumidifier, and that's it. And a couple little like nightlight
Right.
type deals because since the storm we've been at my mom's house. Okay, it's
you had to gut your house, or majority of it.
over half of it is gutted, and it's just like cable companies and everything else. These construction crews are so backlogged and so busy that it takes an extra amount of time just to get somebody to come and give you a quote, much less
If you can get somebody to give you a
the
quote
work.
at this point.
Right.
And it's so.
We get now, I kind of tell people because it's in conversation now. How'd y'all fare for the storm? Is the new how you doing?
Right.
And
How's your mom and them?
Right. Like I tell them, we're about middle of the pack, man. We're better than some and worse than others. You eat an elephant one bite at a time. That's kind of how I've been saying it. We take in little small bites, and we'll eventually be back in the house. You know,
Yeah. And that's basically all we could do, man. Like going to work every day, I tell some of my every day.
Yeah.
Every day is the exact same day. And even with things getting back to normal, like you ever decide like, hey man, I just want to go check on this buddy or this friend, and you see the traffic and you be like, man, that's a 2-hour drive. I'm not even going out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, where did all this traffic come from?
Right. It's funny that you mentioned that. So every day, and I know Cody's on the road a good portion of the day,
Right.
but I mean, I look out these windows every day, and I've lived in this town my entire life. There's never traffic that backs up. It's always just flowing traffic. Since a storm, all day long, if there's not traffic built up, I get nervous. I'm going, wait, like something's going on?
Right.
It is literally from, and I'm
But
three
you gotta
blocks from
understand,
them, you know?
and a lot of people don't get this, but we've had a very large influx of workers.
Oh, definitely.
And with that, like, just think of the amount of roofing crews we have in town now. But with every one of those comes an adjuster, comes a salesperson,
Yep.
so there's a lot of people in our town who don't live here.
Correct.
They're
There's
here.
a 30% increase in population.
Right. They're called they call them storm chasers or
Yeah.
whatever, or what XYZ profession storm chasers, like
Yeah.
roofing storm chasers.
They follow
Right.
disaster areas.
Right. And that's how the companies make their money, and we need them. We if we just had
They're definitely
local,
wanted.
Right.
I mean, it's a bad side effect of
Yes.
an additional side effect of all this. There is a huge influx of everything, and it's the same thing when people go to restaurants. I hear a lot of customers and stuff that come in and complaining about you can't even go to any fast food without a 20-minute wait.
Right.
And they go, oh, and I'm like, do you not realize that that's going to help us rebuild?
Right.
That's additional tax dollars coming in here, sales tax, hotel taxes. Like, that's a good thing. We don't want these people not to be here.
Right.
And that's why, like, all these linemen that came into town, I know we cooked here at the office for them a few times and did big, food drives to kind of feed them because, look, the company does things for them, but they work a whole lot better and they're a whole lot more appreciative when they get some good Southern food.
Right.
Look, I'm gonna take the unpopular stance on this, and don't get me. My brother-in-law is a lineman. I love the linemen. I appreciate what they do. If people saw how much money they made when they were down here putting them things on,
Absolutely.
there would be a whole lot less cooking for those guys.
I disagree completely.
I'm just telling
Just
you.
because they're making money doesn't mean they shouldn't be treated fair and appreciated.
But I'm not saying unappreciated.
Also, I'm gonna say
like,
this too.
I appreciate a lot of people that I don't have big cookouts for, right? And look, I'm not. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, I highly appreciate it. I love those guys. They do a great job, and we need them to come in here and do this kind of work they're doing in the amount of time it's taking them to do it.
Correct.
And prior to restaurants being open
Yes.
those type of things, but how many of those linemen offered to buy the meal?
We had some. So I'll tell you, when we did one over here, and it wasn't for like the cookouts that we did wasn't like cookouts for linemen. It was for everybody, right? But of course, there's always linemen. I mean, we're in a pretty busy corridor.
Well, yeah.
There was always linemen around. So, my daughter initially had some right across the street that were working on some transits, and she's like, "Do you want me to bring them?" I said, "Yeah, bring them some plates." Well, once they kind of radioed and said, "Hey, like, I got some good food over here," and like the next thing we turned around and it was like 15 extra trucks in the parking lot across the street, and they did come over and they were like, "Hey, how much are they?" And they're like, "Oh, they're free." So I mean, we did have a handful of them offer the second go around.
That's a rarity.
I would assume that it is a rarity.
But most of those linemen already know if a storm come and stuff come down in the South Louisiana, they're gonna get fed by the residents.
Yeah.
So, I mean, them offering it almost be like just being crazy, And you gotta understand, just as a cable person, like when we go in homes, people try to offer us the world, and we turn it down.
Right.
Just because one, we in your house and we kind of probably saw something that didn't want us to eat. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
two, like I still got a whole date, so I know people here are real generous when it comes down to trying to feed people. So I don't ever think that'll be a problem for linemen going forward. And I know Trust me. We did a PO order for some of the contractors that come work for us, and the price they make, man, for 100 feet of cable.
Oh yeah.
is sweet. To the point where you be like, hey, I'm in the wrong business. I think I want to go learn how to cut fiber and splice fiber and start doing contract work myself and start following storms.
I'm talking ridiculous money.
Oh yeah, they'll come down here for a month and
And
make
maybe
what
not
most
have to
people
work
make in a year.
for a while.
Oh, easily.
Yeah. Yeah.
Easily. And you got some people cooking for the linemen who ain't got a house themselves.
Right.
I don't know, bro.
True Southern hospitality,
It is, and it warms your heart that we had that amount of kind. But I just know if I'm up on a pole and I know how much money I'm taking home, and I'm looking down and I got a family that ain't got a house and they offer me a meal, y'all need that more than I do. Thank you.
Well, see, the thing is, most people that were cooking initially, you're cooking shit that's about to go bad anyway. You're cooking shit in your freezer. You're spending $40, $50 a day running, and this is something else that people, if you're watching this, stop spending $40 a day in gas to save $100 worth of food.
Right.
Stop it.
Yeah, cook it.
It's asinine. You know, I had so many people that I saw in when we were around, it was like, yeah, I'm running out of money to food. And I'm like, what you got in your freezer? And they were telling me, I'm like, that's $100 worth of food. Cook the shit, put it in an ice chest. Like, stop spending money on stuff, but anyway,
Right. And look, people try bringing us meals and free, again, it's appreciated. Like, don't get me wrong, I love where we live and the fact that our people are that kind-hearted. I do, but like I'm walking around, I'm not starving, so people offering us meals, and look, I really appreciate it. I just go bring that plate to your neighbor. That
I get it, but see, the neighbors, you have food, and the neighbors have food, and like these guys came down here on a very short notice, threw everything they could in the bag. There's no stores open for them to buy food, so they bring sandwich meats, breads, like they bring what they can with them. Like I just think that I understand your position, but I just think it's I will still do it and promote it every single time.
Right.
Because of what they do, where they come from. Then you had people drive. You had these lines, and again, I know the money. I get it. It's their job.
If you knew how many we arrested,
but
you might have a little bit different of an opinion.
I promise you,
that's
still
with
not a large
everything.
percentage of the people that were here.
I mean, and you're right on that. You're right on that. But they I don't know. I'm gonna be quiet because it ain't.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's always
hey.
bad bunch in every group.
If it makes you feel better cooking for them, cook for them.
It doesn't make me feel better.
And I'll come help you hand plates out.
I think it's just the right thing to do.
It's a blessing.
Yes, to say, hey, look, we appreciate that they don't have to come down here.
Yeah, they do.
No, they don't.
Some of them don't.
They don't. These are contracted guys that are coming. Look, every company.
It's not, Jared, listen to me. It's not like that 100%. Some of them, yes. A lot of them are, when their company says, you going to South Louisiana because us as a company is going to help put lines up, they don't have a choice.
You're right. You're absolutely. I get that.
And that's the majority of these linemen that come out here. The
So
majority
you think they
of
were
them.
just told, hey, this where you going?
Yes.
A lot of them are.
Look, this is how it works. Initially, they ask for volunteers.
Correct.
And most of
There's
the
enough
people-
volunteers.
There's enough because of the amount of money that they make. The majority of them will volunteer to come.
Right.
But if they don't get enough, you going.
Mm-hmm.
You got a couple of days, get your stuff together, and y'all going, because as the company, and you know that when you sign up to the alignment, you may possibly have to go do that. Like when storms happen, my brother-in-law keeps his bags packed because he doesn't know if he has to go or not.
Right.
Especially when guys come down. I mean,
Right.
I've seen trucks from Connecticut, dude.
Oh yeah.
Man, they had
Dude,
guys from everywhere.
I thought of some old linemen.
You know,
I'm
and
like,
I'm
man,
like-
you close to retirement. He said, I'm gonna do this till my feet fall off. He said, the amount of money I'm making.
Yeah, absolutely.
He said, I'll do this till my feet fall
Look,
off.
I actually know a kid that recently graduated that was enrolling in Fletcher. And then this happened, and he changed. He was like, I'm gonna be a lineman, and that's what he.
My cousin just recently.
dude, 'cause-
and this was before Ida.
If you
Started going for a
are in that trades business and you want to
Yes.
learn a trade,
Yes.
I mean, it's always going to be around. But I tell you what, I know driving my truck, pulling a camper, how rough these roads are.
Oh, bro.
Dude, I would not want to drive from Connecticut to South Louisiana
Right.
in those freaking lineman trucks. You want to talk about kidney stones, back problems? Like,
Now,
dude, that's a beating.
right? And it's not just hurricane. Like
Oh, it's storm.
Brother-in-law's
ice
going
storms.
right.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Blizzards and all kind of stuff. You know, they gotta go. Like my brother-in-law goes from South Mississippi when they don't get too much snow. You know,
Well, even like in Houston
all the way
last
to
year when the
Dakota,
ice
you know?
storm hit in
Right.
Houston and Dallas area, like, dude, they were out of power for weeks in the middle of sub-zero freaking temperatures,
Right.
and those guys are out there,
Right.
like you said, coming from 80 degrees, not used to now you doing all of this work in ridiculously cold temperatures. You know?
So like I said, I understand in certain instances, and I understand as a whole people wanting to give, and I'm not trying to downplay that. I don't know. I don't even know what fucking.
Such a bah humbug.
Hey, that's what happens when the storm ravages you and you can't get the adequate sleep. You start running like Cody.
Yeah, Cody was probably working on 3 to 4 hours of sleep every
And
couple days.
still working.
If that.
So, and he's in here killing the linemen. So,
I'm not trying to kill these linemen, bro. Come on, man.
It was bad because I was about to say, well, you know how dangerous their jobs are. You can't say that to a
You
cop.
can't say that
I mean,
to
you
them.
just can't. So I had in my brain, I had to retract that statement real quick.
Look, I appreciate them, bro. I'm not. If you allow me to listen, man, I appreciate you. I truly do.
just don't make money and take food from anybody that's trying to give it to you. That's it. Cut your pay. All right.
Just
And
don't
then
donate.
tell the lady down there, I want the food, but I'm not gonna take it until I get you up and running.
Just pay for their food.
Hey,
Give
look.
them $10. Leave $10 on them when you get their
I
plate
don't know,
lunch.
man. I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is.
I
man.
understand what you're saying, no, dude. And I'm sure you're not.
No, I'm good. No, we insist. Okay, take the food.
Yeah.
Right.
Just I don't know.
And we just poking fun, guys. You
Right.
know, like we've been gone a while, so we trying to just catch back up. But what y'all think about the school schedule? The split schedule. The
Let me.
schools going?
I gotta use the restroom real fast.
Go ahead.
Because that's gonna be a deep dive. I'll drink this damn Monster.
Pause it. So we don't run. Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. I told Cody too. I want to get on the Dave Chappelle thing.
You do? I thought about it. I said I'll give y'all the next
so
one to get on the Dave Chappelle because I
Well,
know
we could have
Cody
another
probably
one.
never even saw it.
He did.
Yet. He saw
Yeah.
it. No.
Bro, when it happened, like, because I watched it. Well, I didn't watch it as soon as it came out because I don't have internet. So I started reading. I mean, I've watched every one of his specials, and then when all this bullshit came out, and they were like, "Oh, Netflix employees are striking," I was like, So I literally came over here on a Sunday afternoon and fucking watched it over here, and I'm like,
What
"What
they
y'all
mad
freaking out about?" Like, this is like, I thought he was like
Brilliant the way.
Oh,
you
it was like, man, when he compared it, he was like, to the blackface thing to a woman, I was like,
genius.
that's,
Genius,
but
man.
how he kind of, like, it almost was, he does that well when it comes to his comedy specials. Like, it's not a comedy show, it's just a talk,
Right. Right.
And it was like, that's what, I didn't even feel like I was watching any,
Me neither. Like I really I like the overall consensus of it. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't really trying to beat down on the LBG.
He didn't at all. I thought he lifted him up
Right.
and embraced him and was like, "Hey, I love y'all, but
Right. But this is what y'all doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
and like I just want to show y'all this." And it was kind of the same thing. Like, look, I ain't gonna lie to you. There was plenty. I never did, but there was plenty of like Halloweens and stuff that I wanted to dress up. I actually did when I was a kid. I dressed up as Criss Cross one year, like
Right.
But I didn't. I just changed my clothes.
Right.
But I think as an adult, I might have would have put on blackface and done that thing. And honestly,
Wouldn't have thought
I would have
nothing of
never
it.
thought that was wrong about it until it's brought to me like the history of that, and I was like, "Ooh, yeah, that's kind of I get that now."
Are you on camera saying you was blackfacing?
Yeah, it's like the camera's recording. It's just this time.
Right.
But I mean, it's just
Come
true,
on,
man.
You just had the monster. What you doing?
Yeah, man.
About that
What you
heart attack.
doing?
How about that heart attack on the air, bro? Listen, I drink coffee all day long.
I know you do. Man. I believe it.
I'm
You're a cop. Coffee and donuts.
Coffee and donuts.
Not
all day.
donuts. These motherfuckers would not do donuts for me for nothing.
Not on live camera.
And we're not-
Not in uniform. Trying to eat as many as I can.
I still think we need to do that.
What?
I might do it now. I was younger.
You never heard about it?
Yeah, I was here when y'all was talking about how many donuts y'all eat. I'm not doing
No, we did I I had an expo at the Civic Center.
You told me. We talked about
And
it.
these motherfuckers would not do it. Like, it was like, which one is that? The lemon lime?
Just I expected more
Why you
carbonation
didn't-
or something.
There's no. Well, we know this is the one that rocked. This is your buddies.
Oh, that's the rock shit.
Yeah. Pump it out now, huh?
Fucking pour some out. Rock.
It was all about the rock until he endorsed Biden, and he was like, "Fuck the rock."
You jabroni.
Fucking jabroni. That's funny. We back recording?
Not yet.
All right, let's roll. Roll that action.
All right, we back. Sorry about that. Cody had to take a little intermission
Yeah.
after 22 minutes.
Hey, but
A
we
drinking
start.
monster.
Yeah.
You act like we get here and we just start recording.
I know we don't. We talk and catch up. But so what Tori's saying with the school.
So, just a couple of things on Facebook. I saw a parent from South Terrebonne was upset that their kids had to go to the latter schedule, and that they thought the school board could have did something different. The split schedule is a split schedule. You know, I felt for it, but I didn't feel for it because I mean, somebody was gonna have to eat that bullet.
Let me just pause and kind of give everybody a backstory of what he's talking about, because if we surprised that we don't have a lot of local listeners. A lot of our listeners don't even live around here. So we had a lot of high schools and elementary schools that were damaged. The majority of the high schools.
Majority of them.
So they consolidated and put two schools in one, two schools in another one.
We have four local
Four
high
high
schools, and they had two of our local high schools are probably at the very least a year away from being hospitable. So they had to combine the schools in the southern part of our parish, those two high schools, with the schools in the northern part of our parish, who took damage, but not to the same extent. That way they can get kids back up and running. So
they're running a platoon schedule. One school goes from 7 o'clock till noon. The other school goes from 12:30 to 5:30.
right.
Correct.
Shorten classes by like 6 minutes a class.
No,
and
it's more than that. Them classes are 37 minutes.
37 minutes. So it's, yeah, 'cause it was
36
45 minutes
minutes.
classes. It's 45-minute
No, it's
classes.
36 minutes.
No,
No,
was
they
45
were.
minutes classes.
How long they were prior to the start?
45 minutes.
Oh, they were 45 to an hour.
Yeah.
Close to,
So that's what I'm saying. So
about,
they-
I think they were 50 minutes.
Shaved some time off and consolidated them. And I guess what Tori's talking about, one school is close to the area, and the other school that
It's the
shares that
base- it's
school.
the base
It's
school.
the base school, yeah.
Right.
The other school is, like Cody said, in the south part of our parish. I would guess for a bus ride, it could be an hour and a half, maybe 2 hour ride at some
Depending on
points
traffic, yeah.
to some of these things, and the people are taking to Facebook and social media, giving their opinions.
Pretty much, and actually showing not any race with it, but just showing how privileged people want to be in South Louisiana. I mean, we almost was at a point where we might not even have school for almost the second year in a row, just having nothing, and kids being left without even having memories of a senior year, prom, homecoming, stuff like that, and they actually splitting it up, and we still have people that's not happy with it.
Well, I think part of that, I'm going to cut you off, but I think part of their gripe, so that people can form their own opinion about it, like Jared said, some of that bus ride is 2 hours, and you talk about the afternoon where you start taking 5 o'clock traffic and throwing that into the equation. Some of these kids are getting home, according to social media, not being able to verify, 7:30, 8 o'clock in the evening sometimes. So that's where your parents' gripes are coming in, and I understand the frustration, right?
Would it change if we had to go a different spot? Honestly.
What do you mean?
So, at 5 o'clock, if I try to leave Terrebonne, what time you think I'm going to get to Gray?
15 minutes later, 20 minutes later.
Before the storm?
Oh, no. I mean,
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I don't think. I think a lot of these gripes are. I like Cody said. I agree with them. I understand where they're coming
Right.
from.
I think
But you have to look at the alternative.
I think there's a better option. Lafourche Parish, for COVID, right? They had in place an A-B schedule where they split their school in half, and they had half the school go Monday,
Wednesday,
and
Friday.
and Friday, Then the second half went Tuesday and Thursday, and it was every other. So it was Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, every other Friday.
week. And then it rotated though
It's every other Friday.
Every other Friday.
So you would
I
go
got
Monday
you.
and Tuesday, Friday. The next week you just go Monday and Tuesday. The B rotation would go
Tuesday, Wednesday,
Thursday,
Friday.
and Friday.
I got you.
So that there's no reason why, and it worked, right? So there's
When this was?
This was COVID regulations in Lafourche Parish. There's no reason why they can't do that with South Terrebonne and H.L. Bourgeois, and the same thing with Terrebonne and Ellender. Put these kids on an A-B rotation. That way they get their full school day, and nobody's going until 6 o'clock. They can go from their normal 6:30 in the morning to 2:30 in the afternoon. And now, great, they'll still be getting home later than they would normally if they were at South Terrebonne, but they're not getting home at 8 o'clock. The days that they're not, you can put those kids on virtual, or I don't even know if they have the infrastructure for virtual.
You can't put virtual
That's
because
why.
not everybody has internet.
Right.
And that's why it's
But-
not like that.
But you don't. They're only getting 36 minutes of instructional time a day anyway. I mean, if you want a more normal
I guess see because
feeling schedule, then
I know our school
I'm in
system.
favor
I understand
of
what you're
AB.
saying, and I would love to see the numbers on it because they like Cody just said, they measure that by the number of minutes of instructional
Right,
time.
right.
So I wonder if the AB schedule has less because, like you said,
I think it is some less.
They were doing the instruction.
for the
They were doing
totality,
the virtual on their days off,
Right.
in which we don't have that option right now. So
Right.
I think that's probably why the school board elected to do this way, to where these kids are in school every day. Because again, you also know that when kids are in school every day, that there's less
Yeah,
chances
look,
of
look.
you know,
Yes, 100%. In an ideal situation, you want kids in class being educated every single day of the week. Minus the weekends. It's not normal circumstances.
correct.
And I think that those parents in the southern part of our parish have a legit gripe about their kids being on a school bus from 5:30 till 8 o'clock in the evening. That also takes away from family structure. That takes away from a whole lot of other things
These
that
are-
are important as well.
This is a normal situation.
I get that.
So if this was a normal situation, I would tune into their gripe if it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? But being this isn't a normal situation, we have to do what was due. Two, if you switch it, imagine you, a Terrebonne High School student or an HL student, right? And you have to go to your school the second half of the day.
You see, to me, I don't think that's an
flopping.
argument.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of.
Because I look at this. If you're getting home at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the evening, that means to get to school, you're going to be picked up
Right.
at 4:30 in the morning.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
You telling me that you okay with putting your kid on a school bus at 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning?
I could barely make it here this morning.
Exactly. That is crazy.
Yeah, I'm.
Especially for a high school student.
Yeah.
Like
It's driving.
high school
These
students
kids are driving.
much more in tune to driving and being
Right.
attentive at 8 o'clock at night, 7:30 at night, than they are at 4:30, 5 o'clock.
Them flip flopping that schedule, but just the sheer safety of because not all these kids that ride the school bus. A lot of these kids drive
Drive as
themselves
well.
to school.
Yeah.
We did when we were in high school. I don't want a teenager driving at 4:30 in the morning who went to bed at freaking midnight because they're not going to change their social life.
Right.
On the road at 4:30 in the morning with a bunch of fog, trying to drive from the southern part of our parish all the way to the northern side of our parish, which, under ideal circumstances is going to take you an hour and a half to make that drive. Yeah, no. I am not for flopping. I'd rather them be out in the evening than out in the early mornings.
And I believe that was one of the reasons that was put in too. You know what I'm saying? Even
Right.
with the time change, it's so dark right now. When
Well,
you
they
wake
even
up in the
bumped
morning.
up, so the schools would normally let in. They bumped the schools up 15 minutes earlier,
Right.
to accommodate the. So, look, I don't have a kid that is affected by this. But the second firm, my kid goes to
Right.
his school, and all of my children are back in school now. My daughter's worked with me for a month because her school was one of the last to actually be able to take in.
Right.
So I do, like Cody said, I do echo the concern, but I also got to take in and say, hey, man, look, like, is it perfect? No. And is it maybe the best that they could do? Is it our best option? Probably not. But I think it is pretty good they reacted relatively quickly, which, not to knock our school board system, but they normally don't do that very well. It's normally a really long, delayed decisions.
Behind door decisions.
Yeah. But it's man, I honestly don't know, like Cody said, what is a better option? What is a better way of saying it? Is the AB
Well,
schedule,
if and all I'm getting at is if you're going to change it, like if you want to try to accommodate not having these kids out till 8 o'clock at night, then I think the only, to me, and unless somebody can think of a better solution, if they have to share a building, that it's the AB. I think that's the only other viable option that you have. Is it the right option? I mean, that's debatable.
Yeah.
But
I think it comes down to the minute question.
right.
Like,
I think that if you're going to change, the answer is not to flip flop the two schedules.
absolutely not.
The answer would be going to an AB rotation or something along those lines. Because, like you said, we can't go virtual because you got some kids that just
don't even have power.
There's some people down Pony that don't have power.
Well, I mean, we got people in the city limits of Houma that don't have internet and cable. So the virtual, like we talked about earlier, right? I mean, the virtual option is just it's off the table, parish wide. So yeah, like I said, I don't know what the right answer is, but I know the wrong answer is putting these kids on a damn road at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
patience is the right answer.
Man, look, that's a word that
Right.
I've used more in the last 50 days to myself. I get frustrated sometimes because, especially when you do, and y'all do, we all deal with the public in some form or fashion, and it's really hard whenever all you hear is complaining all day. And, Torrey, I think, is the only lucky one in this group that didn't have any damage to his properties. But, I mean, my homes, my businesses, they all had damage, some way worse than others. But it's like, guys, everybody's going through the same thing. Like, he's not, but you got family members, you got, in-laws, you got cousins. You have people that have lost, some of them lost everything. My father was one. He had 80-year oak tree fell on his house. Like, he's displaced like he's living at my sister's house right now, and it's like we're trying to do everything to get him. Everybody's dealing with some kind of insurance and adjusters, and
stress levels are high.
Yeah, man. So it's like, take a breath, take a step back.
People are overworked and stressed out, and so patience is wearing thin. And just, I guess to give an example of how people's minds work. And this wasn't even that far after the storm. This was probably about a week after, patrolling some of our southern parts of the parish, and lady flags me down, and she says, "Sir, my house was broken into and ramshacked. Like it was just the whole inside of my house. Everything's all over the place." I said, "Well, is anything missing?" She says, "No, it just like somebody just came in and threw all my stuff around." And I had to take a step back at first. I didn't know if the woman was
a little bit
crazy
off
or what. I said, "Ma'am, y'all been, like, since the storm, y'all been." She said, "No, we just got back. They went to stay somewhere up north, and they drove straight through, and they just got back." I said, "They've been on the road all freaking day long, right?" And I'm sure they've been stressed out. But the point out, I said, "Ma'am, you realize there's a tree that's like through y'all roof, right?" She said, "Yes, sir." I said, "Look, I know you weren't here for the storm, but the wind gusts were very high. We had sustained winds of 150 miles an hour. Do you think some of that might have got inside the house and maybe sort of blowing some things around?" I didn't think of that. I said, "Look, just go through your stuff. If you find, any kind of obvious things that somebody was in your house, I'm more than happy to come help you out. But it's probably just from the storm." But that woman's stress level was up high. Her sleep was down low, and it's just things that people, the brain works weird, and so people aren't thinking straight.
They're not.
You get into this weird survival. You only pay attention to the things that you think are the utmost importance.
And directly in front of your face. Yep. And once you have a belief of what happened,
that's it.
That's what happened.
Convicted. It's
the woman couldn't step back enough to see the tree. That was through.
I mean, it's
through
comical.
a-
It's not comical, but it is the same.
But it is. So since we got stories like that, might as well keep them rolling, right? So we just started doing assessments in the Berg, Bayou Black area. And I don't have a ladder on my van because I'm a supervisor. And sometimes I do carry it when we back to normal. So I'm riding through a neighborhood and customer blocks me off, right? She was like, hey, we saw you coming, we won't stop you, but once you passed us up, you know, we figured we needed to see where you was going to see what's happening. So my neighbor's internet is working and mine isn't. I'm like, all right. She was like, you know anything we could do? I'm like, well, we just getting into the area. You could wait till a tech come out to actually hook you guys up, and then he'll be able to tell you. And she goes, so you mean to tell me I have to call a technician? And she puts her head down, right? So I'm praying to not start laughing because I'm saying to myself, like, if your neighbor's on and yours isn't, but you're stopping me to tell me about the situation, and when I tell you have to call a technician, you put your head down, like, how do you expect it to get fixed? Oh, well, I was hoping you come and fix it.
Like right now.
Like right now. I say, no, ma'am, that's not going to happen. So she went to cursing. Right? I say, well, I'm glad you're doing that. You know, she was like, what you mean? I say, I want you to understand, like, you haven't seen a technician in this area since the storm, right? She was like, yeah. I say, so we come and do assessments. I say, right now we working in Thibodeau, and we got customers literally jumping on technicians' vehicles, telling them, I'm going to kill you if you don't hang this wire up, right? And it's no joke. It's real
I believe
deal.
it, bro.
So I say, so you got to understand now the company is at a different point. It's safety first for the technicians. So if that tech come and see how y'all cut me off in your car, that's going to tell a technician that you're not of safety. You know, you're aggravated, which we understand you are. You probably ain't have power, internet, ain't seen TV in forever, which we understand you are. But you got to also understand, these guys working 6/10s with 1 day off. You ever came home from work and tried to do your manly duties and get rest, and then got to go right back and deal with a customer that's irate? So he's going to be irate and you're going to be irate. He's going to tell you F you, you're going to tell him F you, and he's going to go his way. Your services ain't going to be working.
It astonishes me how much, and I'm going to use value for lack of a better term, that we put on internet and cable service. Like to a point that you'd want to jump on somebody's vehicle and threaten to kill them because you can't watch television
and
or
I'll
have
go one step
internet.
further. You have so many people now that rely on it as a phone service too, because if they don't have Wi-Fi, their phone doesn't work.
Right.
You know, so it's like,
But it blows my mind, man.
Oh,
like
you
you got,
both.
and I can almost understand.
it's been a blessing in my house, but a curse because
Right.
my kids have now 55 days with
Nothing.
no TV, no internet. Like my daughter has been drawing a lot. She's
Right.
getting more creative. You know, it's so
I can understand the power thing with the heat.
yeah, because that's just, I mean,
Right.
I can get that.
just air, like people don't understand. Like, air conditioning is important for coolness, but it's also important to remove so much moisture in South
Absolutely,
Louisiana.
absolutely.
Like you don't run your air conditioner for a couple of days,
Yeah.
the
Oh, it's gonna
humidity
be
in your
sweaty.
house is going to be at 70%.
Yeah, you're not climatized in your house.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
So I get electricity, but like just the we almost equate internet services with a basic human need. You know,
it probably is now, though. You know what I'm saying? When we was growing up, we didn't
You
depend
don't. I
on.
mean, you
Man,
you depend on it, but you
Yeah,
don't
we had
need
to-
it.
Right.
It's not a basic
Right.
human need. You know,
It
but
is honestly a need now. Though. People work from home.
I know
They can't use it. People actually let the internet babysit their kids.
yeah.
So now they have to actually parent, you know.
Incredible, man.
It's just so many different things with it. Also, kids, like the younger kids, you know, it's something that they had at touch from birth,
Right.
Yep.
you know, so they don't understand it. And where I kind of tune in with my kids with this situation is I try to show them, look how life was prior to this. So you physically had to go outside to
Right.
stimulate your mind. You had to go meet other people physically to have conversation
But
versus getting on Facebook and talking to your friend all day.
So is the conversation being had about, man, if these people were ready to kill for the internet, how much money they willing to pay
That's coming.
for the internet?
Companies know that. Trust me. When things like this come
Oh, yeah.
out, they taking a tab of how
Right.
many
So
calls I'm getting and what
these
they're
people acting like
about.
this ain't doing nothing but making everybody else's bill go up.
And that's exactly
Well,
what's
the
going
thing
to
is, it
happen.
depends, because then you're going to have a new company come in, right? Because
Well, yeah, you're right.
all this new
Competition,
money
right.
coming in is going
Right.
to create another company, like you said. And I'm debating what I do this or what. So there's going to be somebody in
You're
one of
right.
these bigger companies that go, y'all didn't do this right. Y'all didn't handle this right. Y'all wasn't prepared for this. So if I can take 20% of this business, again, and that's how competition gets stifled. So yes, prices may rise occasionally. The thing that I don't like in my area, I have one service provider. I hate that. Why is that even an option? It's the same thing with
Right.
electricity. Like I don't want to know. I don't know exactly, but I do know I have friends and family that live in other places of this country.
With 3 cable providers in
And
one area.
it's not even like you can choose whoever the hell you want.
Right.
Like it doesn't matter who you know.
It's whoever's going to give you the best deal and best fit for your household.
So right now, you got to think about it as us being on the map. We were so small when we first started.
I get
it. And then everything was started where this one company was going to be able to do this, and then
Right.
another company came in.
So they broke it into territories and
Right.
said, "Look, you can have this area. We'll have this area," and it makes those companies invest in the infrastructure for those communities. I get it.
You
But
should know it. It's a numbers game.
I get
If
it.
anybody
I do.
should know it.
That's what I'm saying. I get it. But now, at this point now that our area is 100,000+ people, we have multiple service providers in the area. That there's a literal, it's a street.
Yep.
It's not even 100 yards from my house is where the other service provider ends. And it's
so-
like they all have service and I don't. And I can't call that company to give me service.
So
not only
whoever's
that,
at the end of
we
your
might
rope,
live across the street from each other, and I got fiber optic, and you got
Well, that's how it is.
regular.
Well,
you
my
can't
house
get
is
it.
2
you just gonna
houses.
have to pay for
I can't get it.
No, I'm saying, so it's so far from you, right?
It's
so
2
let's
houses
say-
from me.
Right. So your deal should be going to the first 2 people and be like, hey, man, we need to get this cable plan over here.
We tried.
They didn't give y'all a price?
Nope. So I have some pretty influential neighbors. And they were like, look, we'll pay, we'll all, there's 6 of us, 3 on this side, or 7, and 4 on this side. And none of us have it. But then on the next street is where the other trunk line ends.
Right.
And I'm like, come to us. And they said it's not enough people.
Right. To generate money.
And I'm like, but we're going to pay for it. Like, we'll pay for y'all to get it to us.
And see, that's what our company do. If it's something like that and we right here and you 100 feet away, we'll give you a price to build that way and you split it.
So that's what I did here. So I have fiber here and never lost internet.
You ain't.
Never lost internet. But when I bought the building, it was 2 blocks down. So I'm like, hey, look. Well, finally, there was, I don't know if it was somebody else down the street wanted it. And they said, hey, would you contribute? And I was like, yeah, I mean, y'all get it. They stubbed it right on the side of the building, like, no questions asked, no, you know. So, I mean, we're generating the need. I don't know what the,
What
you
it
know,
gonna
yeah.
take.
It's so frustrating. Because it just doesn't make business sense to me.
right.
You know, to be like, why would you not? Because everybody would do it. All of us. And we all have stupid, expensive, cable
bills.
internet bills. Like,
Hey,
Not I.
why would you
Too
not?
easy.
But see, too easy don't work when you don't have internet.
Facts.
I try. I ran it off the hotspot for a couple days. So.
Man, I tried to when it first went out. Boy, I was aggravated as I don't know what trying to watch it off of that.
I tried to get the Tyson Fury fight on the to hotspot it, and it
was
was
a good fight,
horrible.
too,
It was,
man.
I know. I seen it after the fact because I came over here and watched it.
for
But
the first month or so, dude, I was so tired when I got home.
Right, you
Like,
couldn't
I don't
do
even know
nothing.
if they had cable or
I
not.
agree with you for that. But I tell you what, these last 21 days, I say for the last 3 weeks, it's been waning on me more and more. I have no problem. I enjoy going home and not having just quiet.
Right.
Kids
right.
are doing, but then now the kids, like, before it was like, hey, we'll sit down and we'll do something for a little bit. And then they go and do their thing, watch their movies, watch whatever they were doing. And now it's like, I love my kids, but now I'm entertaining them until 9, 10 o'clock every night. And it's like, I love y'all, but like I need to wind down. Y'all been home since 3:30, 4 o'clock, or whenever y'all get off of school. Like,
yeah, hey,
send them
to HL Bourgeois. They won't get home till 8 o'clock.
What a dick. What a dick. So I do want to. I'll flip the script because I'm tired of talking storm related.
The hell was that?
That was you?
Yeah, I just lost a tooth.
Holy smokes!
I just made it to the lifesaver.
I do want to talk about some. I guess it is controversy. The Dave Chappelle Netflix special. I did talk to Cody and them.
That's the GOAT, bro.
So, have we all watched it? Have y'all all seen it?
I watch everything Dave Chappelle puts out.
All right.
I love Dave Chappelle.
So, same with me. And again, because no internet, no nothing, I heard about the controversy before I watched it. And I was like, what the hell is it? What he's talking about? Like, because I've seen every special he's done. And I again, I want to preface this by saying I am not anti anything. So, but I watched it.
I'm anti a couple things, but nothing he talks about.
I watched it, and I'm going back going, why is this uprage? Like, what, and then I took a step back, and I'm going, well, yeah, because I try to put myself in people's shoes, and for the life of me, I cannot fathom this. And then I hear all the stuff, and Netflix fired the employee.
I thought she quit.
I don't. I saw the thing that
Right.
Netflix fired the employee. I don't know if it's true or not, but the day that they were supposed to, I'm saying they, I don't know if I'm using the right pronoun, that they were supposed to do this march out, they fired. From what I heard when I read.
Half
And
of
it
them
was-
are working virtually anyway. How are they gonna march out?
Well, they were at
They got all
that.
off?
Yeah, they were all there from what I was reading, because they were like, so, and they said we fired them not because of their stance. We fired them because they interrupted a board meeting to protest, and it's like you can't do that. That's complete lack of respect and lack of it's all violates so many company policies. So that's why they were fired, not because of their personal stance or their disposition with the special. And I'm like, good for them. Like, I don't know where I don't even know where to begin to talk about this, because it's such a hot topic. I hate this woke bullshit that our country is in right now. I have love and respect for everybody and anybody if they're love and respectful to me. So, but I hate the fact that somebody that preaches tolerance is so intolerant to anybody else. I don't understand that concept. I don't understand that position, and it bothers me, and it boggles my mind at the same time.
Because it's not about on that side of it. It's not about tolerance. They're not preaching tolerance to tolerate everybody. They're teaching individual tolerance to tolerate me, and that's the difference.
I don't understand that.
You're talking about tolerating everybody. That's how it should be. You should, but it's almost a level of selfishness from the whole woke side of I want you to be tolerant to me. I can give a crap about everybody else. I'm not going to be tolerant back to you, but you have to tolerate me. And I think that's where a lot of disconnect comes from is the fact that it should be, why don't we all just love and respect everybody? And then you ain't got to even worry about tolerance because you're going to tolerate people. It baffles my mind as well, Jared. I don't.
So
I think people are getting tired of it too.
and people are, and just strictly off of what you said, Cody, that's pretty much what Dave Chappelle was trying to say. He was letting them know that we understand you guys have your rights and you want to be seen and you want to be heard, but at the same time, take a break and look at what you're forcing up on other people that don't agree with everything you say.
Right.
We're not going to agree with everybody 100% of the time, but because I don't agree with you, you shouldn't be allowed to end my career, ruin my business, or even just slander me. And that's with anything. That's with culture. That's with the blue, that's with occupations, that's with the cable companies overbuilding each other. We can't continue to knock you to bring my purpose to light.
Right.
If it makes sense. And that's what's going on in our country right now. Everybody's knocking everybody else to bring their purpose to light.
And there's a difference because look, I'm a huge proponent for we can't lose our freedom of speech. Like that's one of the things that makes our country unique, and that's a very, very powerful freedom that we have that we can't lose. Like that's a downfall that we can't come back from if we lose that. There's a huge difference in hate speech and speech that people hate.
Say that again.
There's a difference between hate speech and speech that you hate. There is. Just because you don't like what I'm saying doesn't mean that I don't have the right to say it.
It doesn't mean it's hateful.
Right. And it doesn't. Yeah.
You know?
Just because you hate it doesn't mean that the speech is hate speech. Which in itself is we would look at hate speech and be able to say that it's easily defined.
So I was going
Right.
to ask you. So I know now there's a law. There's laws about hate speech, right? And I know you're probably not as proficient in these laws as you may be in other laws, but there has to be a legal definition of what hate speech is in this country.
But
Okay,
there's not, because we don't have there's no such thing about hate speech and law.
Same lines is a terrorism law.
No, we have hate crimes.
Okay.
Right. And that's physically doing something to
Gotcha.
somebody else strictly based on the color of their skin or their religious beliefs,
Sexual
or
orientation.
sexual orientation.
Okay. But nothing on speech.
nothing on speech. It's a
but
sticks
as
and
in
stones
Canada,
mentality. In
Canada
they're-
has hate speech laws.
right.
And that's where I was going
Right.
because I wasn't sure if we did.
But the problem with that is there's no definitions that like this word, and this word.
Correct.
And the problem is they continuously adding on to those. And it basically gets to a point where if you hurt my feelings and I'm on the right side of
you
this,
can get arrested.
then you're going to get arrested. Right.
For saying something.
For saying something.
Yeah.
Right. Something that somebody else just doesn't agree with.
Yeah.
You know, like it just without freedom of speech, man, it's hard to have a free society.
You can't.
It really is.
You can't. You can't have a free society because you're just dictated, by
You say-
every law.
Yeah, you say something I don't like, you're going to jail.
Going to jail. Yeah, that's crazy. I posted something on social media, so I want to talk about it. What Dave Chappelle had said. He said our culture has accepted two huge lies. The
Look
first
at
is
rich man's
that
phone, man.
what's that?
I'm just getting it on YouTube.
My
Man,
iPhone 8.
Yeah, look at that rich man's phone. iPhone 8.
Our culture has accepted two huge lies. The first is that if you disagree with someone's lifestyle, you must fear or hate them. The second is that to love someone means you agree with everything they believe, say, or do. Both are nonsense. You don't have to compromise convictions to be compassionate. And I saw that he says that in his new special. And man, I tell you, it really sat with me. And when I watched it, y'all are the first people I thought of. Was like, man, I want to talk about this because he also compared, trans or LGBTQ to blackface, and that to me. And again, I'm neither, so I'm only going off of the words, and then he brought up his friend who was a trans woman, and how their whole relationship. And I only thought that he was so compassionate and showed so much empathy, but also showed a disagreement in lifestyle, which is fine.
Right.
And then to hear all the backlash and to hear that, they're trying to cancel him. And look, you can cancel a lot of people. Dave Chappelle is not somebody you can ever cancel. This man walked away from a $50 million contract because he didn't like what the executives were doing. You're not going to cancel Dave Chappelle.
Well,
I don't care.
Even, and I'm going to cut you
No,
off.
go ahead.
Even if they were successful in getting his special taken off of Netflix, what a lot of people don't understand, when he was at Comedy Central, Dave Chappelle's contracts were very much oriented towards Comedy Central. Like
Correct.
they basically owned his image,
Owned
his
everything.
name, everything. Dave Chappelle never made that same mistake again.
Right.
Even if they take down it, he's getting paid.
Big
Right.
money.
Big money.
He's already paid
Right,
on his
right.
thing. He was like, you
Well,
can cancel the
right,
show.
whether they
whatever.
air it or
I'm
not.
already paid.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's got clauses in it has to air for so long.
Yes.
It just came out like the
And
actual
if they
contract.
don't, if they don't air it,
pull
they have to pay him.
They have to pay him like
Yes.
more money than his original
Right.
contract. You know, so
Genius.
look, he is
Right.
genius.
Well,
He is
it's
the
like-
goat.
He don't make the
Look,
same mistake
man.
twice, man. That's just
I
kudos to him.
have. You could look back at Richard Pryor, Carlin, like all these guys that they just spoke truth, and it's been a long time since I've had a comic that I've resonated with that same thing. That it's funny, but they're just speaking about
True,
real
right.
life,
You
man.
can't
It's
do
like
nothing but laugh,
it's
man.
because it's so damn true. It's like if you're not living this, then you lived under a rock somewhere. So
Right.
you're not paying attention or know
And-
what the hell
and-
they're talking about.
Because they have that realism in the way that they present their comedy, it's funnier to me. Man,
It is.
like that's the difference between, for me, a comic that's funny and a comic that's hilarious.
Yes.
Right? Like Rogan is hilarious. Oh God, his name's escaping me. Bald-headed guy. He's got a podcast too. Bill
Burr?
Bill
Yeah.
Burr's hilarious.
Ooh,
to me.
Bill Burr.
But they're controversial. But all
Yes.
they're
Right.
doing is just they
But see-
poke fun at the things that because you have to put a spin on things that make you uncomfortable.
Right.
It's just human nature, man. Like it just
But to do it so gracefully,
Right,
like Chappelle does.
Yes.
I mean, look, Rogan, Bill Burr's they're good, but Chappelle does it in just like I feel like when I'm watching him on stage that I'm actually just having a conversation with him.
oh, he's the goat, man.
And but that's how it has to be, though. I mean, because he's not going out of his way to get your attention.
No.
You know, it's just like a regular old barbershop or Sunday
Right.
dinner type of conversation that really says everything. And if you actually are around people that really don't have any filter, that tell you things just how it's supposed to be, that's Dave Chappelle. Because it doesn't pay to sugarcoat anything.
Right.
You're going to get results or whatever you get. If you don't like it, you don't like it, And my only thing is I wish Bernie Mac could still be here.
Oh, bro.
With that. Because, oh, my God, man, that would be
Yes.
funny. That would be funny. And that would be some stuff that they would actually talk about that would drive people crazy.
Did you
but it
see a
would bring
podcast
awareness.
with Dave Chappelle and Bernie Mac, and all they do is just talk about shit like, man, dude, that Joe Rogan would be, I don't want to say be done, but Joe Rogan would not have the #1 podcast. I can promise you that.
Yeah, the comments that Chappelle was making, the one that I guess offended the trans community was, and I don't want to misquote him, but the comments that he was making about, was it the Harry Potter author?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How she was saying that a woman is fact, or however they put it. That was what put them in a frenzy.
I
Was him agreeing with her, who was already they were already trying to cancel, and I think successfully to a degree.
But how
And then
you
him
know how hard?
and then him saying that every person in this room had to pass through the legs of a woman. And that's what set that whole trans community off. It wasn't the part about him talking about his trans friend and all that. It was that
But, I
one
mean,
little
but
segment.
that-
I'm
but
just
that's
tired.
valid.
Was that a lie?
No, it's science. Right.
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 that's what I mean. Again,
So the kicker, what's the kicker of that Chappelle show? Because it was heartwarming, but it was funny at the same time. So when he made the statement that how she went on Twitter and stood up for him,
Right.
and how the same people that she resides with went after her and tore her up in the media, right? And to his not knowing that when he reached out to her again, he found out that she had passed. But it was so funny when he said, "Ain't no woman jumping off no building." That had to be a man. Oh my God,
Ain't no
man.
woman
I
doing
was
it.
crying and laughing like, man, this dude has no filter, man. Like he's praising her And he still found the joke to put in there, you know.
And he followed. He said, "And she'd want me to tell."
And she'll want me to tell this joke, right?
And you're right. That was the crescendo. That's when it was just, it was nuts.
He also goes on, I guess, very late spoiler alert. He goes on to say something that resonated with me. That he started a trust fund for her daughter, and he said, I don't know what the trans community did for her, but I don't care because she was part of my tribe.
Yep.
She was a comedian, and that that struck a nerve with me, man, because it was for them to be blind to the fact that it wasn't about her orientation or about her being trans. It was just about her being his friend and being a fellow comic. That brotherhood that they have, and
And it's funny because he ended it, and again, like Corey says, it's a spoiler alert. But how he ended it when he said, I want to give her that money, and he said, I want to go up to her and say, young lady, I met your father. And he was an amazing woman.
Right.
Because it's like, when he said that, my face dropped. I was like, but then he finished it with, if that doesn't show tolerance and acceptance,
right.
That's saying, hey, look, you are what you are. And just because there's a disagreement on how you present that doesn't mean I don't love you and you're not part of my tribe and I don't take you as a whole. And I promise you, Dave is going to do that.
Oh, 100. Yeah, he's 100. Like
you're not going to know it.
Yeah, like
right. Ain't nobody's going to know about it. The actual kid will bring it to light probably sometime after Dave either passed or maybe 5-10 years after it happened.
But that's not jokes. Like he's 100% serious.
Oh yeah,
so
absolutely. He's going to say that.
Right.
That's the conversation he will have.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's like, how can you? I don't know. Again, how can you not appreciate that?
One hell of a woman.
Have to watch it again.
Oh my God, that was so funny.
We should have got together and watched that together.
I said, I did not think, because I didn't see it when it first came out because we didn't have anything.
Right.
And I said, for a week I was reading all this controversy and I was like, that makes sense because he talks about in his last episode.
Oh yeah.
It was a little bit harder.
Yeah, he was brutal.
Yeah, he was.
I think that was just prepping it up for what was to come.
Doubt it was.
Oh yeah.
But that was to me that was a little bit more offensive than the close.
But he's 4 or 5. He's 4 or 5.
I think it was offensive. But I think the way he started it out with how they kind of almost killed Lil Baby's career or the baby, whoever it is.
Yeah.
And just that open line was so strong because he said, "I know the baby. He killed somebody.
In
Walmart.
And that didn't hurt his career at all.
That didn't hurt his career at all. They cost him $1, but this man spoke for 10 minutes against the LGBT community, and you can't even stream him anymore. You know what I'm saying? So he was just showing the power of them versus this man actually committing a crime and still became a millionaire. So I mean, that was just not just about the baby or the LGBT culture. That's just anybody trying to salt down anything someone else is doing.
The way he weaved that in to I'm just asking, don't kill the baby.
Right.
It's an abortion joke, bruh. Like the man's he's a word master, bruh.
Right, man. So that's it, man. I think that special was good. I think that special taught people a lot with patience, with just having understanding of race, culture, sex, religion, and just your own idea of what you think people should do, So we could have learned a lot from that. We still could learn a lot from just that one special. And people got to go into certain conversations and certain rooms and understand everything you like and love is not going to be said in conversation. So don't come out of it but hurt, And if it is something that you feel is directly taken from your culture, your sex, your religion. Do what you think is possible to fix the situation, but let's stop trying to kill each other or cancel each other finances, the way they feed their family, their home, or either just their social life, period, because you don't like what a person said or does.
I am a big believer in power in numbers. And if there is something that somebody has done that is truly harmful, not offensive, harmful.
Right, like what's his face, the director, the Weinstein or whatever, the one that they went to jail for.
Oh,
The one that they said
the whole Me Too, how that whole Me Too movement started.
Like that. Yeah,
you're doing stuff like that. That yes,
canceled,
like man,
right.
cancel these motherfuckers. Like truly, like. But because somebody offended you, you're trying to ruin their life.
Right.
I mean, like you said, financially, physically. I mean, some of these people they had death threats coming out of it because I'm like, wait, it blows my mind. Even in the news media, people like you got people on Fox and people on MSNBC and all these places that like the opponent's viewers are literally trying to harm these people because of what they're saying on TV. You know, and I'm like,
too privileged, man.
What the fuck? Like, oh man.
But that's a bad mental space for a lot of people.
Absolutely, but that's a good portion of this country right now.
It is,
man.
but it shows you. You know, just think about this. I believe all these actions were happening pre-social media. You know what I'm saying? Everything we see now
social media is just a spotlight.
But it's a spotlight, and it shows you. We have a lot more people that's not sane enough to see something, make their own assumption, and move on.
But it's that whole, and we talked about this, I think, in our mental health episode. That's the dangers of being in an echo chamber. You know, where you're fed the same stuff by like-minded people over and over and over, and you never have your views challenged. Almost to a point where it becomes radicalized and cultish and
like somebody that has a different opinion is also automatically the opposition.
Right.
And
then
no.
But then that crosses into the threshold of extremism, and then like you said, somebody comes along and now your whole tribe, I guess for lack of a better term, is saying that person's the enemy. And you already have that radical mindset. That's when you start getting into these situations where you have people giving death threats and physically trying to harm people over a political view or a statement that they made, and it's dangerous. It's reckless.
But how do you fix that? I mean, I know there's not a simple answer, but
people like us getting together and showing that you can disagree on something politically, but you can still love and respect that individual. You know,
blows my. I don't. I wish we could get I wish we had more options when people would guest and people would come on and that.
Well, I think once we get back to a normal schedule, because I done had tons of people say, "Hey man, let me get on y'all show. Hey man, let me get on y'all show," and I'm like, man, right now we either super early in the morning because we trying to keep up with our work schedules and our family lives and still make this to the point where we could schedule you, but you gonna have to wake up and eat
you got
toast.
to get up.
You know what I'm saying? It ain't no waking up and eating.
You got to wake the rooster up.
You know?
Yeah. When you get back home, slap the rooster so you can wake the rest of the family up. Right.
So I think we'll be able to do that, and I think we should go female way a little bit. You know?
I agree 100%.
Yeah, we can bring whoever. I like to talk, man. If y'all had noticed, so.
Yeah, you're a cop.
We can bring whoever y'all want on.
Yeah,
I got thick skin.
So. Man, how you doing, man? Sorry I had to stop you today.
Can I see your ID?
Can I see your ID? Oh, you went to Turbo? Oh man, I got a kid that go there. What's that marijuana I smell? Sorry, I gotta take you to jail though. But
yes, indeed.
I think we're gonna be all right, man. I miss you guys. You know. I'm glad.
You get no trouble, man.
Right.
Man, I've been sending him some messages and kind of.
Has he responded?
You know,
I know he be everywhere.
Yeah,
I could kidnap him, man. I'm gonna kidnap him.
It's
and
like,
bring
bro,
him in here.
he's on a mission right now, man. He's dude's doing like some big stuff, and I'm proud of him. He's sometimes
off.
he's too much for me though.
Right.
I'm like, bro, it's like he gives me anxiety watching something. Like, slow down, man. Like he's just all over the place, man. But he's definitely doing big things
Who we
in
talking
a
about?
small town.
Divine,
Trouble Man,
Terrell, Jasper.
Oh yeah.
Black Rambo.
Yeah.
You might need to go on his show and shoot some guns,
Hey, we can all go.
man.
Yeah. Tell
That
him.
dude's got some.
and then bring him.
That
in.
Let's
dude's
go.
got some guns,
Let's
boy.
hey, we can
Flamethrowers and all.
we can make it a range day, man.
Oh, well.
Go film and go shoot some guns. Be I'm always down for that.
I just want to shoot the flamethrower.
It's badass. He's got some stuff, man. He's
Yeah.
got 50s. He's got an array of stuff, and
I'm proud of him, man. I
and
ain't
he's
gonna
doing
lie
it.
to
He's
you.
doing it right, bro. Like he's not about no bullshit.
Right.
He's about keeping everything legal. This dude, when he travels with his guns.
Huh?
Flies like.
I've
and he,
I've seen
and
him.
he
I've
shows,
seen him.
like, and it's like,
yeah, I've seen him at our
that's what you
range.
do, you know, like.
Right.
Yeah, you can't miss him.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, well, what brought my
You
attention
need to start
was
wearing a shirt though.
Think he buff, man. Think he buff, man.
what got my attention to him was I saw him once at the range. I heard it before I saw him. I heard that. I'm like, oh, somebody shooting some fully auto. So I went over there just to check out what he had, and I recognized him. You know, so we kind of talked for a little while and then shot some guns. But
He's
yeah.
He's deep. He's got like, I don't know. He was on some kind of publication with a picture of all his guns around a pool and his shooting flamethrower.
Mhm.
And dude, that picture went viral,
Viral.
and
Right.
it's like
He made a couple of videos rapping about the guns.
Yep.
And they went
calling out
viral.
rappers and stuff,
Right.
and tagging him and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
He's doing it right, man.
Hey, he's got his own ammunition line too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm waiting for him to
First-
make a gun.
I didn't know this neither. He's the first black-owned ammunition company ever.
Yeah. Yep.
Ever.
Right here in this town.
Yeah.
Yep.
Blew my mind. I was like, I mean, come on, there's got there, you know.
You thinking somebody made
Somebody.
something somewhere, right?
You know,
Is it?
like nope. And it's look, like you said, I'm proud of him, dude. He's doing big stuff.
Yes, sir. Yes,
You know.
sir. You doing big good stuff. He's doing big things. I mean,
I'm doing little things. compared to y'all,
man. So everybody's gift to life comes in their own purpose. You know what I'm saying? Like, just think about it. We played football with Terrell. Never in a million years thought Terrell to be who he is today.
I never
You know
thought
what
he'd
I'm
be a
saying?
Marine.
I could have figured a Marines
Yeah, I
because
could see
Marines are more
When
high
I
speed,
saw him
crazy
run-
type guys,
right,
and that's
right.
how he is.
So he's, I guess, a year younger than us,
Year or
maybe
2
two.
years.
Yeah.
and he was little. Like he
Really
was little,
right?
you know. And then when I saw him, I guess a couple years after, he was still a Marine. So I don't know, a year or so when he was in Marines, I saw him and I was like, yeah, man, dude can't become a Marine. And then when he started the whole Trouble Man, rapping, and I was like, all right, cool. And then when he started the Black Rambo thing, it was like, all right. And then, man, the last, like I said, 2 or 3 years, it's just been like crazy.
Amazing.
And I follow the shit out of him, man,
Right.
Right. But it's intense what he's doing. Like I said, he's him.
He's just him. He's
Yeah,
nobody
if you
else.
would
He's just
never
the
think-
same person he was when we were young.
And it's funny because I read all the comments and stuff, and people try to call him out like, oh, this is an act, and it's like,
Oh no.
nope. Even though that's for 20 years,
Yes.
like this dude is everything, He acted just like that when he was 95 pounds on the football field.
Cornerback, right? Just like that. Run
He
him
thought
over.
he was-
He gonna get up,
Yep.
slap his helmet 100 times, and try to pump himself up. Like, come on, man, you got to do this. Exact thing you
It's-
see now, man.
It's crazy, man. Like it's the hairstyle, the tattoos, everything that it is not like it's not a stunt, it's not a front. Like this
Right.
dude has been like this probably since he was 12 years old.
Right.
Like right before that.
Shout out to Black Rambo, man.
Yeah, man. Definitely.
Yeah, if y'all don't follow him, check him out, man. He's very entertaining.
Yes. Very entertaining.
Yes.
You like guns, you like rap music, you like to see people blow up stuff with the guns. He is the guy to follow.
Yep. He is definitely over the top, man.
And he's a humble dude.
Absolutely.
So if you ever run into him in
Oh, yeah.
public, he's going to be the exact same person you see him on screen.
Yep. Yeah, and that you can't say that for a lot of people.
You can't.
We not even as successful as he is, and I'm not going to call people's names out, that when you bump into them in person, they got too big for their own head.
Right.
You know? But not him.
That's crazy.
Not him. At all.
What else you got, Cody? What's on your brain?
I'm waiting for the button on Facebook so I can mark myself safe from Alec Baldwin.
Oh, gee.
You know, because he didn't shoot me, so.
How does that happen?
That lack of gun safety, man. It's I don't know how something like that takes place, especially after it's ain't the first time.
Right.
That.
Well, Brandon Lee is the
What's the last, most recent
Right.
that we know of?
Right.
Yeah. And that was like, not saying that this isn't bad, you know, but that was a big eye opener in the Hollywood world of, you know, because he was a young, up and coming,
Right.
like, you know, Bruce Lee's son. Like, this
Right,
guy had
right.
everything in the
Filming
world.
The Crow
Right.
2 or whatever.
Right. Filming The Crow 2.
And it was like, you know, prop gun, supposed to be a blank, dead. This one, I guess, is still
Well,
an
it's
investigation.
still an investigation from everything read, but I mean, just basic gun safety, and I know it's different growing up in the South than wherever Alec grew up at, and he's an anti-gun advocate.
That's what makes this even.
But you would think, and I don't want to assume, because you know what they say about assuming, but you would think that on a set of a movie where they have prop guns, whatever, that there's some kind of safety briefing. So that, because some of these people have never even seen a gun, much less touched one, that we treat them all like they're loaded, we never point them at anybody, we check and double check to make sure that you know, that all our safety precautions are in place so that something like this doesn't happen.
Because it's still a gun.
It's still a gun. It's supposed to, and I don't know what came out. Obviously, some kind of projectile came out, but I don't know if that projectile is an actual bullet or if that projectile is something that was in a blank that came out and it's a manufacturer type thing. But I mean, you know, there's some questions that we may never know the answer to, like why is he pointing at the cinematography director and the movie director as opposed to somebody? Because if we're in a scene and Tori and I's in the scene and he's supposed to shoot me, the gun's gonna be pointed at me.
Yep.
It's not gonna be pointed at the director who's off to the side or the
Right.
you know the lady. I think she was the director of cinematography.
Cinematography, yeah, you're right.
The gun's not gonna be pointed at those people unless maybe they're behind me and he's wildly shooting. But those things aren't being said. Is he horse playing with a gun he picked up that he had no business touching? You know, because that crossed the threshold of being negligent. You know, there's a lot of questions that I think need to be answered that
You probably never like.
Well, probably
How
never
the
know the
Wizards
answer
cover
to.
it up.
you know.
But that, yeah, I mean that was what, yesterday, day before yesterday, I guess, a couple of days ago.
But I'm talking basic gun safety prevents that. You know, like Jesus Christ, man. There's no excuse for that.
Not, especially like you said, when you are an anti-gun advocate, when you are, you know, anti-Second Amendment, when you are all these things, you would think that, number one, don't even have that out until we have to have it for
Right.
this.
Like you would think he would be the last one you
Yes.
think he would
That would
play him
play
with.
Right.
Yeah, so you're right. I don't know where that goes. I don't know how that happens in today's world and Hollywood world. But it's sad. You know, it's
I mean,
it's
tragically,
tragic.
somebody lost their life, and
And somebody might. I mean, the
Right.
other one's not
yeah,
well.
the director's
Right.
not out the woods yet either.
So,
you know,
I don't know.
Safety first, guys.
absolutely. I mean, even if you're anti-gun, at least take some safety classes so you can speak from a position that you have knowledge of what you're talking
Yeah.
about, right? So even if you're anti-gun, anti-Second Amendment, at least go take some safety classes and educate yourself on the functions and the safety precautions behind handling a firearm. You know, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like I
Not,
said, how
not to
that
make
happens.
a joke out of this, but so I didn't see the news clipping or article that when it happened. The first thing I saw was a meme, and it said,
I'm sure there's a million of them out
"Yeah,
going floating around.
dude, this was like I said, like I didn't even see the article, and it said guns don't kill people, Alec Baldwin does."
We can't lose freedom of speech, but that is funny.
And I was like,
That is funny, man.
what? I didn't get it.
Right.
I was like, I don't, and then again, you scroll, and I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
that I don't know.
Right.
That shit came out quick. It was like,
Oh, they don't take
Oh,
no
bro,
time.
no. I saw
They
one.
don't
I
take
saw
any
one
time.
that Alec Baldwin killed more people than the whole January 6th insurrection. I've seen, because now look, they are hammering because of some comments he made like in 2017 or whatever about he was bashing the police about, man, I wonder how it feels to wrongly kill somebody. So there's a lot of
so it
memes that
came
goes,
back on.
you know now you know how it feels, that kind of stuff. So I mean,
damn.
yeah. Yeah,
Choice words.
Karma's
Never
a
know
bitch,
what
man.
Choice words.
Karma's a
man.
bitch, bro.
Choice
Is
words.
that really what he said?
Yes.
Wow.
I sure would like to know how it feels to wrongly kill somebody. And he had a video of a police shooting, like on his Twitter feed. And well, you know now, buddy.
Yeah.
That's man. But he's got so much, man. I don't know. He's got a lot of controversy with him over the last, his career.
Right.
But it is.
Man, tell the missus I like this sofa.
She'll be mad when she sees this video. Because when I told her, so I guess
we
how we
rearranged the
started.
studio. That's
So we are normally behind this wall in our little cubby hole. But I transformed it when we came back from the storm because I had some training sessions. I had new employees and all this stuff that we had to do. So
I made it alone.
I made, long table, chairs, took our, busted all our stuff down and made it into a training session.
we wasn't important.
Money first, man.
That's it.
We ain't making no money.
And so I was like, I didn't have time to start redoing all that. I was like, this is a nice little setup already. We'll just kind of, take it. And she was like, y'all better not drink anything on, I'm like, it'll be all right,
You see, I ain't have anything to drink.
So when I think,
So if you got wet stains, it's
she said, make sure Tori don't eat McDonald's all over my stuff.
That's funny.
So,
You were supposed to see that.
but well, I mean, when you're doing this, off the camera view, I mean,
And it come up with a French fry hanging out your mouth.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was a hash brown.
I know.
what that you got, T?
Nothing really, man. I got some closeout thoughts, but time has been rough on everyone. They're getting better slowly. Community has been real stand up. I loved what I saw after the storm, with everybody helping out one another. Stay close to your kids in this time. Because as a parent, if we're stressed and going through a lot, our kids come from the technology world. So not having the things that they normally have is putting a strain on them. Going to school for half a day is putting a strain on them. The same as it's doing us. So just be more of a parent at this time, more understanding. Stop persecuting everything that doesn't go along with your agenda. And stay positive, man. That's all you can do. I know y'all get tired of hearing me saying stay positive, but go home and think of something negative for 5 minutes. And I want you to either record your action or record the time. And just think about everything you're going to think about in them 5 minutes of negativity. And you're not going to smile once. You're not going to have a great thought in between that. And it ain't really going to have you thinking about anything in the future. You're just really going to get down and depressed on that one thought. So if it's negative, push it to the left. If it's positive, put it in the center to where you see it all the time. That's all I got for you guys, to be honest with you. And keep doing what you're doing.
Oh,
I guess.
yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah, well, that's very, very good. Just to kind of echo off of Tori. Our community. I mean, look, hats off. It's. You can say with pride that you're you're from the the home of Terrebonne area, especially seeing the way people stood up from the aftermath of this hurricane. We had some situations with gas and people's tempers and stress levels getting high, but those were the exceptions. They weren't the rule. For the most part, everybody stepped up, and people were giving that they didn't even have stuff to give, and it just it warms the heart and makes you feel good about the community that we come from. So yeah, I'm right with you on that. If you are someone who's stressed out and going through some hard times, look, there's no shame in taking a day off. There's no shame in taking some you time to step back so you can see the bigger picture and just kind of take a breath and slow down for a day. So if you have the opportunity to do that, then I strongly suggest you just take some you time and kind of de-stress and refocus yourself, and like Tori said, bring those positive things to the center so that it can start to spread. Like always, guys, especially when we start talking about tolerance and cancel culture and all that, I just like to reiterate that we all come from different walks of life, and even us in this room don't always agree on things, but at the end of the day, we practice what we preach here, and I've said this before, I'll say it again to the day I die. I love you guys, and whether we agree or disagree, I still respect both of you, and with all my heart, I love you, man. Both of y'all.
Appreciate
Love
it,
you too, bro.
Back at you. Again, we always talk about not being in an echo chamber, but we're gonna be in an echo chamber right now. 'Cause I couldn't agree more with both what they said. Our community, I'm so proud of what we've done. Not to toot my own horn or our own horn, but when we came back in, we had boatloads of supplies that we went through the community with. We had some amazing friends and family from out of state that donated a boatload to us as well. And even conversating after the fact, they were a little disheartened that they weren't seeing anything on the news. They weren't seeing anything in the media about what was going on. And they've known our area and our stories for our lifetime. And it was like we understood we understood Hurricane Andrew. We understood when things happened 10, 20, 30 years ago in our community, because we were a small community, But now we are 100,000+ strong in just our parish. That's a lot of folks. And for, not to take this great thing political, but for, for our government at this point not to recognize or to push an agenda to help. We've got no federal help that has come down in our area. FEMA has been slow at best, and if not for our community and our people and our surrounding communities that have come in, given money, small businesses have done amazing things. People, complain about how long it took some of them to get back up, but if you don't own a small business, I kind of don't want to be rude, but you have no room to talk. You do not know how hard it is to get things back up and get moving. To stop a freight train and to start it back up again just doesn't happen overnight.
You got displaced
It takes
employees.
Exactly. We still have. Our employees are still everywhere. Nobody wants to work.
Right.
I got 7 job openings right now. 7. Cannot get somebody to come. Yeah, if you need a job, let me know. I mean, I need a little bit of qualifications, but we're trained for everything. So hats off to our community and our surrounding areas, because the support that came from within, this was the most organic rebuild and rebound I have ever seen. So that's, I don't want that to be a whole other podcast. But then what Tori said, positivity. I just read it because I've been reading a whole lot since I don't have nothing else to do. But there's a book that I read while we were evacuated, and that's what it was about. It was about positivity and positive mindset. A negative mindset has power of 10 to 14 times of what you're thinking. So if you think of something, it magnitudes your attitude, your belief system 10 to 14 times more. A positive mindset and a positive attitude magnifies it 4 to 7%. So it takes double the power of you as an individual just to negate one negative thought, right? So if you don't have one negative thought, it's going to take 4 positive thoughts just to get back to neutral, right? So to ever be in a negative mindset for a day is going to ruin your week if you think about that for a second, you know. So to always keep posting, stay positive, and keep posting about your positivity, because we need it a million times more than we need all the negative stuff that goes around on social media in everybody's life. Because again, it just when you do the numbers, that's why when you look at where we're at in mentality-wise in this country and in our areas, because all you see is negative posts.
That's it.
Everybody's always in a negative state. And if you're 10 to 14 times, if you're magnifying that 10 to 14 times for every one, and the positives you're only 4 to 7, you know, it takes 7 of you to get one Karen out of the way. You know,
and it's a hard job.
It is
Trust
hard.
me.
Absolutely.
Everywhere I go, people be like, "Man, why you so positive?" I'm like, "Well, why you so negative?"
That's it.
You know, and it makes them have to wait a while. And they be like, "Well, man, I'm not negative." I'm like, "Well, tell me, what did your negative thought bring to light?" Nothing. You just got a crowd of people that want to be negative with you, and guess what they're gonna do?
Misery loves company.
Right. Another crowd of
but
negative
does it
people.
really? Like,
It
I'd much
does.
rather be around positive people
Because again,
than a negative Nancy.
But most people, misery loves company. Even when you're in a bad mood and you have a bad thing going on, people want to hear how bad it is.
Yeah, you
People
got a
don't
point.
love to hear how good it is. All you're doing is
right,
bragging,
right,
you're gloating, you
right.
know,
Yeah,
you're
you
so
got a point on
cocky,
that,
and it's
right.
like, no, man, I'm just happy to be happy.
Right.
You know, because yes, I can be negative, I can be bad, all of the horrible things that you have to deal with in life, and it's like, man, how do you, like, people get mad at me because I love Mondays. I love Mondays because I don't live for the weekend.
Right.
You know, like,
Right. I like the weekends.
I like them, but I don't live for them.
Right.
You know, I make my Mondays just as good as I make my Fridays. You know,
Yeah,
do I
don't
like
have-
sleeping in and not having an alarm go off? Absolutely.
I like Saturdays.
You know, I love Saturdays.
Well, right
I
now,
like them at 5:30.
No days. Not a day that came that I loved so far. Even my one-off day is a hateful day.
But when your feet hit the floor, you still got a positive attitude.
Yeah. I mean, I'm positive all the way through. Even when I'm probably at my worst, I'm at my best. You
'Cause
know
you're
what
breathing.
I'm saying? Because I'm breathing.
It's still better than the day being in the dirt.
Hey,
Yeah.
I
don't know until I get to that dirt
You know,
and come back and tell you, hey man, it's a blast down here. I really don't know. And see, you even got to be positive in death, man.
absolutely,
So,
man.
I like our days, man.
Oh, yeah.
I enjoy getting together with you guys. And
I do.
enjoy
Y'all have
that
no
too.
idea
this
how much I enjoy
podcast,
it.
but I needed this. So
I don't wake up this early to go to work.
I do.
I know you do. I don't. And so when y'all talk, let's do it early, I'm like, I got at 5 o'clock to come talk to y'all. And then I'm telling you, like, I'm like a fat kid in Kansas, like, I wake up before my alarm.
Right.
And I'm like, all right, let's do this. You know, like, and I get here because we set up and everything, you know.
Right.
Oh,
Tori
major,
always snags
sorry
30
to
minutes late.
stop
Oh,
you.
I'm sorry. What's that?
No internet, no power, no racism. Isn't that amazing? So is it the media or is it us? Like we had
We're going to be here for another 2 hours on another podcast.
for almost 50 days. Like you're not seeing any of that. Think about that, guys. Think about that. If we are so messed up as a country, or even just our community, I haven't seen any racism since the storm. It doesn't just cut off like that if it's something that's regular. So take that into consideration also.
That's a strong message, man.
None.
You're right.
I haven't saw one, man. Like one. And y'all know me. I troll Facebook. I troll it and I haven't seen
That's
one,
bad when you
man.
looking and can't find nothing.
Not just, and when I say troll, I don't want y'all to think, oh, Tori going to start this.
No, he's looking.
When I do it, I look for it and ask a question to make a person see a different side of it, to see if we can actually have a good conversation. I'm not going there like, hey, Hitler, and then we just go into all our race battle. No, it's not that. So
It's the only time you're going to hear Tori make a Hitler comment. Cool, man. Well, I know Cody's got some stuff this morning, and we all got crazy stuff. It was a good one to come back to.
Yeah.
I look forward to getting us back in this on a weekly basis and getting our schedules back in line. But y'all got anything else?
That's it, man. Peace and love.
that's it, man.
Right,
Hydrate, get in them yards and fix them gates, or call me.
Too easy.
Too easy.
The divide is not so wide.
Peace.